Hi, hello, and welcome to the Daily Tarot Buffet brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Ablossi. I'll be your oracle today. I was sent to deliberate the findings for the transiting moon into Gemini. If you are new, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. It's a delight and an honor and a privilege to serve. Thank you for allowing us the privilege to do so. You belong, so welcome home. Vertex of Abundance is the galactic temple of ascension, delivering sacred messages from behind the veil. If anything resonates deeply with you, go ahead and comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a consult, send a donation. Today we will be imposing the guidance from Thoth Tarot. That is by Aleister Crowley, illustrated by Lady Frida Harris, published by US Game Systems. In addition, we'll be using the minor arcana from the Cosmic Coven Tarot to deliberate our findings. That's by Lisa Lazenby over at Ripe Avocado. And again, we clarify any type of pairing or matching energy with that deck. In addition, we will be using the Vita Sibila Daily Oracle to deliberate our findings additionally. And that's by Los Scarabeo. We use that deck to clarify any type of combinatory or correlative energy. During Scorpio season, when we're having a Gemini event, that actually means we're dealing with the eighth house. We have an eighth house event. So this event is a lunation. And a lunation, a lunar event, means that we're going to have increased insight and intuition into the matters of the eighth house according to the energy of the sign. So the sign is Gemini, intellect, reasoning, communication. Sometimes it's fast paced, sometimes it's a little versatile, or superficial, surface level, not shallow, but it doesn't go deep. It kind of looks at things from the outside in, or just looks at the surface, or kind of goes with the baseline principles, tactics. Especially with the eighth house, that's a misnomer. When we're dealing with the eighth house, it's not superficial, surface level. So in that case, the meaning shifts a little bit. It will be what other people believe about our eighth house energy. So the secrets that we keep, the places where we're private, also where we confront the shadow, where things kind of bubble up from the depths of our subconscious, our soul, where things might be difficult, protracted, might be stuck, might be dug in. It also can be, taboo. It also can be shared emotional needs. So we're going to have some energy, some issues come out around people's assumptions and projections. You have Gemini, you have Scorpio. That together means projections, okay? We're going to get some shades, we're going to get a couple pangs of what people think, what people assume about us. We're going to hear a few things about people's judgments, and they're going to be misaligned. Misrepresented. There's going to be mislabeling, misjudging, misperceiving, basically projection, where people assume why we're not close, why we're not accessible, why we're not approachable, why we're not amenable, why we're not agreeable, why they can't peer below the surface, why we don't act the way they think that we should be acting or the way that we used to act, why we've changed, why they're not able to get their needs met according to what or who or how they believe that we were or we are. Also, we're going to realize and recognize that some people have been benefiting from our unhealed, unawakened nature. Basically, people were benefiting from us being broken and us having been broken, or our former unawakened, unhealed self. Okay? There's more, but why don't we determine that while it comes in? We've painted a good. So the eighth house is also the natural house of Scorpio. So this is going to be a particular interesting cycle, because even though this is going to go on for a few days where we're going to have this deep insight, this deep intuition about these matters, it's going to kind of softly rain through the whole Scorpio season. And even if it's give or take a day, I always use the 22nd of October through the 21st of November, even though it's give or take a day or two. That's in-house, internally, how we conduct. We have an ingressive transition on the 22nd of each month, meaning we move into a new cycle. So we process here internally Scorpio cycle as the 22nd of October through the 21st of November. So during that whole cycle, during that whole season, there's going to be a little bit of this nature, a little bit of this influence discernible, because again, the sun, which is actually the part that brings things out loud, says things out loud, breathes things in front, puts it in front of us. That's the sun. It's a little bit more physical. It's a little bit more tangible. It's a little bit more discernible, because instead of it being illumination, moon, it's enlightenment, sun. The sun is transiting through the sign of Scorpio. Well, Scorpio always deposits into the eighth house because that's where it is naturally ruling. So anything going on in the eighth house is always going to show up during these 30 days in the path that we're walking and what we're confronting and what we're coming across, and the things, the energies, the entities, the ideologies, the frequency, the vibrations, the energies asking and petitioning for our time, energy, effort, and attention, asking us to engage, to involve, to really, it's going to be evocative and visceral. Again, Scorpio energy is evocative and visceral. So you see, we can talk about this plenty. Let's get in here and fit in here and see what we got going on so we can kind of dial it in, because we're in a couple day corridor where it's like Google. If you go to Google, if you go to any search engine and you type in the word and, 1.4 plus billion results are going to come back. You kind of got to put a whole sentence, maybe even an operator or a punctuation, depending on the search engine. Okay, yeah, so we got a lot here because there's a whole bunch intended. There's a whole bunch of shoulda, coulda, woulda, 10 of cups with the ace of wands. There's all these frequencies, energies, vibrations. The whole rainbow assortment is saying, like, why can't you? Why can't you? Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Yeah. So there's a lot of expectations or ego on how we should respond, react to the things put on the path, to the things placed in front of us. And yeah, and then here we go. Scorpio came right out. Okay, so we're kind of indestructible though. We will weather some kind of storm, and it's very subtle. It's going to come through that apparent love. I say this often, I'm going to keep saying it. When we begin to change, evolve, grow, move on, carry on, glow up, grow up, boss up, handle up, G up, level up, sometimes we get friction. The people in our life, 90+% of them mean well. They do, but they might not do well. How they navigate, negotiate, how they participate and remain present in our lives might not actually effectuate, might not actualize as helpful. It's akin, not always, and this is a blanket example or generalization. It's not absolute. It's the equivalent of taking medical advice from a mechanic. Unless they've gone to where we're going, unless they've arrived at that destination before we have, we might not want to take directions from them on the way there. Unless they've accomplished the goal that we're going out for, we might not want to get their expert opinion on it, because it's not expert. It's an opinion. It's not credible. And so when our friends and family, when the people in our environment, our location, even coworkers, people on the periphery, when they see us going through things, they want to support, but oftentimes it's regulation. Instead of regulating their own emotions, seeing us in distress or seeing us struggle, not suffer, but seeing us struggle sometimes makes them feel some kind of way. And since they're not healed and awakened fully, or since they're not alive and embodied within themselves, they might moderate us, they might handle us, they might regulate us instead of regulating themselves. So they're saying, hey, I see you struggling. Can I jump in there and assist you in any way? Hey, I see you struggling. Could you help me understand what your intention, what your need is? Hey, I see you going through something. Is that completely necessary? What do you hope to accomplish? What outcome do you wish to arrive at? That's kind of more ascended, awakened in co-regulation. Oftentimes, and this is the thing with Scorpio, Because when issues are going, and Scorpio energy, not the Scorpio people, okay? When things are going on in the environment surrounding location, that's a tempo. There's a vibration shift in the tempo, and Scorpio's going to notice that right away. Scorpio is like the spider of the water. There's nothing that's going to go on in that web. There's nothing going to go on in those astral nodes where Scorpio's not going to know. They're going to sense it. They're going to feel it before it even happens. They know it's coming. They don't know how they know, but they feel it coming. And so, and this is, everybody's going to act like this because we're going through the season of Scorpio. So even if a person doesn't have Scorpio energy, these are the events that we're going to notice during this 30-day cycle. Okay. Now it's even highlighted more. The temperature is turned up because now we're in this moon is going through the Scorpio house, but it's acting like a Gemini. So it's going to be chatty. It's going to say it out loud. It's going to get the very surface level, superficial understanding. So it's not going to be deep. It's very rarely going to be accurate. And it might be flippant, flagrant, and frivolous. It might be some kind of quick mention and then go on, not even stand on topic. And for Scorpio energy, that hurts, or it triggers something, or it pierces something. And that can create conflict, at least friction. And so what we're dealing with here is this stripping or cleansing or purging. 10 of Cups, 5 of Cups. All the things that were intended for our life, we're going to have some bubbles bursting. We're going to be given a part in the road. Literally, the crossroads, 2 of Wands. This way or that way. This or that. And so a lot of clarity is going to come around to the path that we're on. And it's creative new beginnings. However, it's going to require that we use some type of strength, because death card and the strength card means indestructible. We're going to go through a whole bunch of bubbles bursting. Pop, 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 pop. Things that we thought were some kind of way, it's not that way. We might have thought it was this, it's really that. We might have thought we were like this, feeling this kind of way. We were tight, we were cool, we were in the circle, we were in the flow, we were in the vibe. With this person, turns out not so much. We might have thought this was the opinion or the narrative that was going on. Come to find out, not quite, not really, not at all. A lot of messages are going to come through, and unfortunately, they're going to be emotional, but they're going to be given verbally, and honestly, it's going to seem flippant and flagrant and frivolous. What I mean by that is making light of things. People are going to be laughing about our wounds. They might not even be doing it intentionally. For the most of them, they won't. But this is how it's going to come out. Even though it's Gemini, even though the moon is moving through Gemini, is moving through the 8th house. So they might think it's nothing at all. They're just asking, they're just curious, but really what they're doing is knifing us in the heart. You know, they're cutting deep. And there is some type of, you know, I'm hearing that, you know, you feel entitled to a sense of control, you're making decisions you think are your own. So people are going to exercise liberties they've yet to afford themselves. They're going to start talking about things like they know what's up, or they're really going to be going off their beliefs, and they're going to be getting to something where they think they should have gotten to before. So they're going to kind of barrel forward, rush forward, maybe not conscientiously, unskillfully. They're not going to tread lightly. They're going to be strategic about it too. So they're going to kind of swoop in or come for us, come at us in a way that's not, it is out of love. Delta, there is nothing but love. However, it will create a resentment. And there's something stuck there. It's not going to get it. We're not going to get over it right away. When things come up, honestly, we're going to have to go through a process to work through it. And it's not their fault. This is going to happen every year. We need to use this little 2-day period to really just inventory. If you can, not saying to do it, but if you can, make a mental note or actually pull out a pen and paper and take a note. Because over the rest of the Scorpio season, we can take, as the moon moves from Gemini into Cancer, into Leo, la-di-da, yada, so on and so forth, we should take that time to kind of work through, parcel through some things. And for the most part, For the most part, it's not going to be with these people that are bringing them up. Yes, we have some Scorpio Five of Swords here, so there may be some kind of Mars going through. Mars just moved into Sagittarius. I got to talk about that in another video. But we have here with the Death card and the Five of Cups, that's Mars in the eighth house or Mars in Scorpio. So there will be some kind of bursting of a bubble. It will be that something pierces through our armor, our veil, and they get to the root where we're wishy squishy, where we're warm and tender. It may be that there's some type of clearing, an ejection, purging. Something gets pushed to the light, and we need to be healed enough to not take it as a personal injury, as a personal affront. For the most part, nobody's doing this intentionally. Again, military came back twice. Okay, so this is being strategic. This is also being an operator. This could be strategic, having an agenda, having a modus operandi, some kind of plan, strategy, tactic. But again, lo Costanza, it's most of this is coming from love. It was always going to come out. It just came out at the most inopportune time. These people are very certain how they feel, how they think. They think whatever's up is whatever's up. And again, second time, it's going to leave us in tears. Maybe not actual crying, maybe not water falling from the face, but it's going to suddenly turn our heart. Al cuore y lardo. That however we thought we felt is going to suddenly shift. It's going to suddenly change because clarity, reality is going to come through, pull through, and it's going to come hard, come harder, and we might not be ready. We might not. We might need to get ready and then stay ready. I don't think we've been staying ready. I think we were standing on what we thought things were, and that's not the reality of the situation. Now, there may be also some kind of Mercury or North Node in Leo. Because there's an external energy wanting to take massive action, something they've been perceiving from the periphery on the outside looking in. They're going to think, oh, now it's time to go for something. But it's magic. Now, it doesn't always mean abracadabra, hocus pocus, brujeria, santeria, but they could be trying to turn some type of intention, manifest something that way. They've had an idea in their mind and they're finally going to go for it, and they're certain that they can make it happen. And they might be unskillful in how to do it. They think the opportunities come to address something. And I don't actually think it's something negative. They might want to impart some type of, I don't know, wisdom. This is leadership here. So they might be trying to motivate us, encourage us, develop us in some. I'm not a person that professionally or personally likes encouragement or motivation or soothing or comforting from external sources if I didn't ask. If you give that to me unsolicited, you actually get pushed back. Like a firm boundary gets put and it will be told to you and it'll be kind of severe. So I don't know, this is giving some kind of like a protocol breach because greatness is going to come through some kind of purging. Literally, we get a disappointed or a sadness or a bubble burst. So some kind of reality comes through. There's a purging and clearing and cleansing. And then we have this opening of the heart, but it's going to be something that we need to work through ourselves because whatever was intended for us, we actually had multiple options, multiple people, and now we're going to know what's up, what's clear, what's for real, instead of just imaginary. Now, this has actually been building up in the background for the last 2 weeks, basically since the Libra new moon. Because there's some kind of chapter ending. When you have the death card and the full card, it's a chapter ending. But you also have so this could be very powerful emotions, very powerful insight, very powerful intuition. Like I said, things that are evocative and visceral, the moon and the strength. But also this could be a witch or any type of magic. Now, not all magic is intentional, and it's not always, lighting candles, chanting at an altar. It's not always abracadabra, hocus pocus, santeria, brujeria, spaghetti, danaderia. Sometimes it's just the right sequence of words. A curse could be just as much curse word as it could be actual maleficence and baneful intent. Spell work could be just as much weaving and crafting as it could be the perfect sequence of statements said to the actual person. It doesn't have to be at a candle altar or something like that. Let me take a look at this chapter ending. Because it's very much giving that we're going to get what we want after we let something go, and it's some kind of emotional attachment. And it's more an opinion, an impression that we've been holding in the background that needs to get reconciled and shored up. And again, melancholia. So we're going to recognize that, okay, there's been delays, things weren't as we thought, they weren't as we assumed, they weren't as we were led to believe. And we're going to need to be put in silence or set down or walk away and have some kind of warm and fuzzy space, to have some kind of sweet sacred spot undisturbed. You know, stanza en la casa, a quiet room in the house. We're going to need to go to the fourth house and work that out. So fourth house, eighth house, 12th house. We're talking about the eighth house right now. Fourth house is comfort. Excuse me. Well, it is that, but privacy, fourth house, secrecy, eighth house, discretion, 12th house. So we're going to need to go away into a private space and deal with these internal secrets that we might not even know about themselves. Because the eighth house talks about what we suppress and repress so much so that we project onto others. We were projecting harmony in relationship where it wasn't really there. We were projecting some type of emotional safety that wasn't really there. There's been a breach in protocol, and somebody's going to have to say something external, this unhealed, unawakened, or just unskillful person right in front of us. They're going to need to say something that's going to set off this cascading process inside of us where we need to go retreat to internal safety and work that out. Because what these people are really doing is they think they're being fair, giving us options, opportunities, and perhaps, but it comes in devastating, like a crashing blow. And all they think they're doing is taking massive action, being magnanimous, offering up some creative new beginning, an idea, they think. And really, it's like, no, Ho, you don't talk to me like that, Holmes. You step back, stand down, back. That's what I'm getting. And so when I say that word Ho, it means Heaux, somebody trying to get us to their emotional viewpoint. But that, again, is an emotional battleground because it's saying a couple of few things here. So over the last week, something has needed to be contained, and there was a crisis. But really, something that was stacked up, some kind of plan, some type of foundation, wasn't really there. It will rupture. Tower in the Seven of Pentacles means plans fail, backfire, or rupture. So if there was any type of spell work, it's not going to go, it's going to backfire. Now, the other part here is, grant me just a moment. Excuse me. So we have the tower going into the world card. So that means conflict zones. It could mean, you know, where the world is not 100% at peace. There are countries that are in active combat. I'll leave it there, but it is that kind of zone. It also means that wherever we're going, whatever we're addressing, it's going to be rife with conflict, reactivity, arguments, things of that nature. But it could be the kind that magnetizes one's emotions, putting them on the defensive. They could even go on the offense. Putting them on the defensive, they could even go on the offense. So let's just, you know, because I got to be careful with that language. Let's have a look see here. Now these fell out face down, so it's a message from the other side. And we have Bezeretta Mercante. So there's been some growing, maturing on the other side. And maturing in this case doesn't always mean mature, metamorphosis, because the butterfly was first a caterpillar. They go into the cocoon and then they come out a butterfly. But they're a new butterfly. They're no longer a caterpillar, but they're also a new butterfly. So just because they've grown up or gone through some maturity doesn't mean they know everything. But leggeretta, they might think with Mercante that they have everything set, everything ready, everything ripe to, actionable to make a move. And it might not be that. In fact, it's because there's some type of resentment. They could be annoyed, put up because we are some kind of way or we haven't made a shift or change. And it could be coming out of, pie in the sky. I'm hearing that song, Butterfly in the Sky. I can go twice as high. Oh, Madam Shaka Khan. Oh, yes, we love our queen. Yeah, take a look. It's in a book, Reading Rainbow. But see, we're over here distressed. Disperata per gelosia. We put the time, energy, effort, and attention, Belvedere, to have foresight, to be mindful, to be watchful, but it might not seem like that. They might have no idea that we've been attending to the relationship in the background. And they might feel like wherever we are at, wherever we've arrived at, there's some kind of ineptitude or even dereliction. Ineptitude is lacking skillfulness, so that we might not have had the wherewithal to do better, or dereliction, we might have kind of abandoned ship or left our post. We might have forsaken our duty to attend to the situation. So they're going to mention it and it's going to be accusatory. Yeah, because they're going to be in, they're going to, whatever energy is opposing us here or mirroring us, if there's no conflict, is okay. Yeah, see. We have the skillfulness, we might not have just provided a result because it's not necessarily something we set out to experience. Fanciulla is Giovanni Fanciulla, it's the virgin, but the virgin doesn't always mean chaste. It often means inexperienced. So there's the ability to go out and flirt. They might have great social graces, Giovanni Fanciulla, but they're not yet married. They might have lots of money to invest, but they haven't really started a business or put their money in the market or whatever market, They may have all this beauty, but they haven't kind of gone out there and dated a lot, They may be still in their childbearing years, but they haven't actually had an offspring yet. So when I say virgin, it means unto themselves. Something gets eroded here. There's a breakdown of some kind. I just heard the word rupture. So the tables are going to turn, and it's going to be over the next 2 weeks. I mean, over the next 2 months, the tables are going to turn, or excuse me, over the next 2 months, some kind of truth is going to be worked through, and it's a cold, harsh one. Could we have the trauma and the traumatizing event? So we're going to need to contain a situation that's going to be traumatic, and that actually is heavier here than anything else. But there is another narrative here that over the next 6 weeks, the tables are going to turn. It could be either or, because the situation is going to align itself, but it's got to align itself through the cold hard truth coming out. So again, this is going to be some type of trauma. A trauma is an event that changes our perspective going forward. Up until that moment, we didn't have the wherewithal to navigate, negotiate that. And remember, what's traumatizing to one person might not be traumatizing to another person. Two people could witness the same exact event and go away with two completely different experiences, even though they witnessed the same thing. So that was a lot. Let's clarify a couple few things here, because I want to know what this trauma and this actual wound, because the Three of Swords is the actual trauma, but the Four of Swords leaves you with the healing and recuperating from. Okay, so it says here, yeah, it's that we were really, really, really down for this individual or energy or environment, trying location or person, place, or thing, or whatever, what have you, so on and so forth. And this energy is just in the mind frame, whatever's mirroring us or confronting us, thinks that it's standing on business. Costanza, look at that card, standing on business. Look, Costanza, the constancy. And they think they're servicing something. And in fact, they are, but it's a spiritual arrangement, spiritual agreement. Before we kind of came down here into the physical, there was some agreement. receiving favor, to be something or provide some kind of experience in the physical for us, and they're doing it. And it's beneficial to us in the end. It is very beneficial to us. La ruota, there is fortuna, the wheel, the fortune, Lady Fortuna. The situation is as such. It's really coming from the divine. DOG spelled backwards is God. So, because now what we're going to have to do is detach. We desire detachment. And there may be moon in the fourth house, moon in Cancer. So again, the moon is where we go with our thoughts. I know people think thoughts are Mercury. Actually, ideas are Mercury. We initially have the thoughts and we initially have the thoughts and the emotions in the moon, and then we have the feelings and the ideas in Mercury. The feelings are more Venus, the ideas are more Mercury. And I'm making a distinction. I'm making a distinction here between ideas and thoughts and feelings and emotions. Feelings are a derivative of emotions. Thoughts are a derivative of ideas. The zero space, the source material is the idea, the source material is the emotion, and those get processed as feelings and thoughts. So the Three of Swords would be the idea, would be the emotion. The Four of Swords would be the processed thought or the processed feeling. Okay, so feelings are Venus, ideas are Mercury, thoughts and emotions are both the moon. Okay, a little bit of Uranus as well. Thoughts are a little bit of Uranus. Okay, so excuse me, ideas are a little bit of Uranus, so are Mercury. Those are both. Okay, so that's for the mystery school students. So we have here with the Knight of Cups and the Four of Cups, we have desiring detachment. And on the opposing side, whether it's mirror or confronting, there's some type of agreement that gets dissolved. Dissolution, stripping, declines, degrades, debilitates, destabilizes. And it is according to the divine. So some kind of union, some kind of shared agreement gets, and it says here that if we're not Mars in the fourth house, Mars in Cancer, Moon in the fourth house, Moon in Cancer, we do actually succeed. It brings us to cherubim. So it brings us to the sacred space that we inhabit. That's the root chakra. I'm not root chakra. Okay, yeah, so it is a safety thing. It does completely evoke visceral responses. I meant to say the sacral. So the place that we hold in this world, we do have to kind of reconstruct our standing in the environment, surrounding location, in relation to this person, place, or thing, out in the world, etc., so on, so forth, whatever, what have you, ad nauseum, and infinitum, etc. You hear what I'm saying? We have a double four here as well. Normally that would be suppress, repress, but since one of the fours is a wand, it actually is a bit more positive. So it would mean we're moving to the next stage. It says the next stage here is some type of dissolution. Five of Pentacles. Unless we can ideologically get on the same page, which there is an awakening here. But when you have the Chariot and the Judgment card, both of those together mean saving someone. Ooh, okay. Yeah, so I actually think there was some kind of, because we have here the reunion, it was supposed to bring us to this one crucial spot that the divine created before we came here into the physical. And malinconia, it was going to come through breaking us open, breaking us out of some type of emotional space or place. Because they need to get inside, whomever, whatever we're dealing with. But they're doing it very superficial, very surface level, very kind of flip it flagrant. It feels like they're making light of something. They might even be doing jokes. And that's fine, I guess, I suppose. I don't know. but it seems like whatever we're dealing with is so deep that jokes are not appropriate, at least in our opinion, and that's what I'm getting here. That was saving someone. Um, let's go into this double four, moving to the next stage. So if you're living together, you get engaged. If you're just dating, then you're going steady. If you're going steady, then now you're living together. If you're already engaged, then you're getting married. If you're already married, then you're having a child. You know, it's just the next level up. So the next step. Yeah, I'm hearing seventh heaven and step by step. And then we got the four of wands again. So that does mean twin flame, but it also means, because it's not supported here, it also means that there was a union. We have an agreement in the heavens. Because this gets canceled. This agreement gets canceled. And this is hard. Because if this person is coming out of love, but they're being unskillful about it, why is it getting canceled out? It means that they serve their purpose, because there's a double 10 here. The cycle is completed. It's culminated. There's a double 10 here, 10 of swords, 10 of cups. So we're no longer kingdom spouse. We were. Or we're no longer from the same spiritual waters. We were. It means that they're out of the soul group, but they've served their purpose. And it is a creative new beginning here with the Page of Wands. It's a new beginning page, creative new beginning, Page of Wands. We found our authentic self. In fact, we've mastered that. King of Cups. The cups are all about authenticity, genuineness, sincerity. King of Cups is the master. We've mastered our authentic self, our true nature, our true purpose. Ten of Cups, King of Cups, that's wanting fulfillment. So either we finally get this invitation, this person finally says, "Hey, I'm vibing with you. I'm trying to get your attention over here. You know, do you like me? Do you want me? Do you want to date? Do you want to, check this energy, feel the vibe, go with the flow, or am I imagining here?" Because it means saving somebody here. I would rather this be lovers with the Judgment card, because that would mean standing up for something, standing up for the relationship. Chariot and the Judgment card actually means saving somebody, and we have the Chariot with the Tower card here, which means this is actually a war, a battle. And we have the Tower with the World card before, which actually means, you know what? This is a battle zone. This is, love is a battlefield. So love is not always, hanky panky, coitus copulation, lust, sex, pet pleasure. It's not always about making babies. And love is an action as much as the verb, as much as the noun. So it's not just feelings of, high esteem and well regard towards another. It could be congenial or filial. It could mean congenial, friendship, love, or filial, romantic love. And I just want to understand this here, because it says we desire detachment. We want out. You're not going to bring up all these feelings, bring up all these questions, and then not be here to reconcile and resolve them with me, because I'm going to resolve them, reconcile them without you. Then you are the one. When I move on, move forward, you get left behind. That's kind of what this is giving. Oh, domestic. So something comes back around. Yeah. So we provide the opportunity to work this out, and it doesn't get taken. Something needs to get buried. And this is something that's been in the seat. Now it makes sense. This is something that's been in the back of this other side's mind. And they see an opportunity to bring it up, but it's not handled correctly. And so we move on, move forward. But we had to process a lot on our own, and then we heal. We move to this stasis, this equilibrium. And then on the other side, because that's a real twin situation, because if you heal over here, then the other side's going to heal over there. We always vibrationally catch up in a true twin situation. Let's move on and get more of this narrative, because now it's making sense. We have a double five. So there was a shift, there was a change, there was a declination, and it's in God's hands as well. Hangman with the wheel of fortune, la fortuna, la ruota, la peso. That means that it's in God's hands. And we already had the two of wands here, so it's the whole world in his hands, but the world card came out too. And this is something about prophecy and destiny. It's really out of our hands for real, because a victory was delayed and destiny is delayed here with the hangman and the wheel of fortune. Destiny delayed with the hangman and the wheel. Victory is delayed, and this is some kind of, we came at some love hate situation with love in our heart. Knight of Cups with the Five of Swords. They might have had self-interest as well. Maybe me were moving on, moving forward, and then they all of a sudden wanted it because this is the repose of a false heart. Things were on the back burner, and so we kind of handled up by detaching. And now all of a sudden they want to offer us this love. But with the Five of Swords, it's never authentic, or it's something that gets canceled out. Something had to happen to evoke this. And this is meaning something got lost here. Something here was resting on laurels, or they thought they made an edict and they thought we understood, but we kind of moved in a way they didn't participate. They didn't perceive, they didn't anticipate. We weren't participating according to what was being imposed on us. Since it felt like an imposition, we moved left when they moved right. We zigged when they zagged. We kind of just, they fumbled. Now, also, it's saying like something here is karmic. This is a karmic lesson and it's not on our side. They're having the wheel of misfortune. We're having the wheel of fortune. So wheel of misfortune is another word for the wheel of karma. The wheel's turning backwards for them, or upside down, which is an oxymoron, a misnomer, let's say. Give me a moment. Hmm. Something weird going on here. Something strange is going on. I'm going to tell you, period, point blank. This is giving me the energy of us going with the flow, but kind of, because we would deal with whatever was presented to us and we would do so authentically, genuinely, and sincerely. And some other energy in the environment around the location thought that they were waiting and seeing. They were checking the vibe. But see, when you shucking and jiving and massaging and assuaging and, you know, hiding, protecting your feelings, hide the truth, hiding the truth to protect your feelings. What that means is there's an agenda. Whenever you withhold your intention, you're either hiding something or there's an agenda, basically being deceptive. So there was a fear of loss. But see, you miss 100% of the shots you do not take. That's called a prevent defense. When you play the game not to lose versus playing the game to win. They're going after what they wanted. They waited and saw, and then they thought they saw a window, an opportunity. But see, the thing is, like attracts like, real recognizes real. So when a person's living in shadow, they jump at shadows, or they're terrified of the light. So when the light came along, some truth came along, they had some type of insight. It was really insight into themselves instead of insight into the situation, because they weren't authentically themselves. And we are not this person. This is the other side, whatever energy is mirroring us. And so they took a moment to exercise what they thought was an opportunity to gain leverage instead of just come out with the truth, and it backfired. It backfired. It backfired. Grant me a moment here. Yeah, because something is being left to think. Pensiero, right? Yeah, pensiero. Something is being left to think about the love that they have here. When we were longing, wishing, hoping, praying, conjuring up some wounding from the past because we were yearning. So spirit, the longing. And so we moved on, moved forward. This might have been love, that kind of a misconnection. I'm hearing unclaimed. Something was unclaimed. So now we've withdrawn inward and we've gone to our spiritual perfection. We're in some kind of healing space. And this is usually a perfected state, which means they know everything that's going on now, or whatever side, whatever energy is mirroring us for this cycle knows the ins and outs of it. Finally, at the end of this cycle, whatever comes out on the opposite side of the wheel of fortune means the end of the cycle. Something finally understands the beginning and the end of it. However, it took a long time. Number one, long-term planning is the wheel of fortune with the temperance. Number two is that this energy wants us to yield. This energy wants us to do things their way, to come. Eight of Swords means yielding to someone's authority. Whose authority is always wherever the core card of the swords is. So this energy wants us to yield to their authority, or they're needing some type of rule, regulation, restriction, restraint. They might have been restrained in the past. And there's this mastery of discernment here with the King of Pentacles and the Hermit. It could also be midheaven and Virgo, which would be a Sagittarius rising. We do have Sagittarius here. I want to figure out what this Eight of Swords with the Queen of Swords, because that means they want us to do things their way. It could have been a collective thing as well, the voices in their head or the voices around them, the flying monkeys. Because here's what it is. This other side suddenly feels stuck. But it's according to their own doing. Because our heart is moving again. And it's moving again after we detached. So that's unfortunate, but understandable. Because now we have the Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups and the reading's over. We have the Moon and Gemini here, High Priestess with the Gemini card lovers. So here's the deal with the Seven of Cups. It means external splendor, internal decay. Imagination, cloud nine, that kind of energy. There should have been some discernment. High Priestess with the Two of Swords. That's not what we had. What we had was something resting on us laurels. Ooh, we got a double message here. Okay. Yeah, so the reason that this other side is stuck, because these two cards came back, the reason that this other side is stuck is because they listened to voices. Maybe the voices were in their head, maybe the voices were in their friend group. This other side got, okay, so we kind of grew out of this. Let's do that. We were stuck for a while and we transformed and grew out of it. And this other side now feels stuck because there's been a lot of instruction to handle things the way that it was handled. Because it's surface level superficial. It's not authentic, genuine, and sincere, meaning deep. It's how it looks, it's surface level, it's superficial, it's, you know, uh, however it looks or seems is not what it actually is. What is truth? It means actual factual as it appears in reality, not how it is in your mind, not how it is in your reality or my reality. It's how it is in the absolute reality. Now, Moon and Gemini, there could be the Moon transiting to Gemini. It actually is. Somebody here could have their Moon in the third house. That's true, at least for me. I know that. I can think of several people. In the next week, there may be lots of different energies, entities, ideologies coming our way to engage with us romantically or to give us some type of choice about path work or exaltation socially. There could be Also, little different visions that come. And the visions could just be intuitive, could be dreams, could be actual premonitions or visions or whatever. Discernment is here with the high priestess and the two of swords. So we're either doing some deliberating or we have been doing some deliberating. And it says that over the last month or so, we've had this gracious, exalted influence over an entire cycle. And that we should have kind of moved in a certain kind of way, or that we should be moving with strategy. That we got to be mindful of how the situation is approached, or that there's a lot of ideas that are coming through, and we need to work through everything before we actually execute on anything. Also, a material new beginning is at the door with this Queen of Pentacles and this Ace of Pentacles. So we can wind down here. So something that was kind of dangled in front of us without telling us that it was being offered to us went away and it came back even stronger, because the obstacles to having this offer come into fruition were withheld. Something wasn't said clearly. It was kind of assumed that we would sense or we would know, but we took things at face value, or they took things at face value. It wasn't explicitly said, hey, I know we're friends, but I'd like more, or hey, I know this is going on, but I'm open to this other thing over here. Or hey, tell me where you are with this idea or this opportunity or this feeling. That never happened. There was just assumptions all around. Now there's a definite ending on the horizon, Morte. And there's this energy that comes servicing something. And so part of what I'm detecting about this flippant, flagrant, frivolous, or this superficial surface level or whatever, we might be understanding this because somebody's friend is taking it upon themselves to come and talk to us. Or one of our friends is going to the other side and talking and then bringing us back something that's not 100% what it is. It's not down to the brass tacks. It doesn't pierce below the surface and get underneath everything. It's very kind of, oh, let me help, or let me talk about it, pay it lip service, and not have a firm understanding. It's like too much misconnection, false start, almost maybe. And I did get unclaimed attraction a few times. We had the Two of Cups, we had the Lovers card, we had the Four of Wands, and the Temperance card. So we had the twin flame soulmate come out, but we never had the Emperor or the Empress. Yep. And between the Emperor and the Empress is trickery. Empress, Emperor, we have the Devil with the Magician. So that's lies or duplicity or deceit or something not clear. And right, the next step here is some type of recognition, having our talents be recognized or whatever, what have you. And that's what I'm getting. Really, what I'm getting, because this is general reading, so I have to read both sides. But what I'm getting is that we were overlooked because there was a misrepresentation. Something was misjudged, misperceived. So we were mistreated, misjudged, mistaken. That's actually called a misattribution. The situation, the labels, the names for it, what it was being called, what it was being perceived at, was filed incorrectly in somebody's mind, and they went about it behaving as if, acting towards it as if whatever judgment was called for the situation as that were true. There was never, at least a sufficient amount, if any, clarification, curiosity, examination, investigation that came our way. So they were left to act on these figments of their imagination, whether it was a collective, them and their friends, or the environment where this was going on or not. They believed whatever they believed, which wasn't true in reality. And we kept receiving these feelings, receiving these downloads, receiving these intuitions, receiving these ideas, and we had to reconcile things on our own. A couple days, a couple weeks after we detached, this other side came back being like, hey, I want to offer you this. Or, hey, I'm recognizing that this was there all along, but we're not accessible, available, approachable for it. In fact, somewhere in the reading, it was said that it got canceled out for us. Now, this is not the us versus them reading, this 9 card moon circular reading like this. It actually just gives us start stop of each part of the cycle. Every phase of the cycle as it's changing, it gives us originating and this terminating origin. If this were an 1111 divine assessment, it would tell us more, but that's not. It's saying here's the trajectory and here's the ascending and the descending energy of it. So all I can say is that on the outside looking in, there was a collective, probably some kind of clique, coven, cabal, some type of friend group that thought we were, mistreating their friend. In reality, their friend never said, hey, I want to offer you this. They thought our inaccessibility, inapproachability, non-agreeableness, non-amenable, they thought, oh, that means they don't like me. And it doesn't have to be romantic. It could be professional as well, co-workers thinking we don't like them when really they never talk to us the right way to get us into deep, heavy rapport. You can be respectful towards somebody and not actually have respect for them. You could be nice to somebody and not really care at all about them. So they thought that we should have been warmer or more accessible or more agreeable, or that we should have recognized what was being offered, or what they wanted, but when it was never really said. We didn't get no Ace of Swords. We didn't get the clarity that we needed. Yeah, it didn't come out. So, that's unfortunate. We're going to pull from the Star Code Oracle to understand really what kind of phase that we're in. It's by Heather Robbins. This is from Hay House. Artwork was done by Lucas D'Souza. The cycle that we're in is motion. Things are finally moving. Mars. Things are finally moving. Because Mars moves into Sagittarius a couple days ago, and finally things are being communicated to us, but we're dealing with the past. So this is third house communication. The past is coming up to review, South Node. So we had the Leo North Node, that means the South Node would have been in Aquarius, which means the group, the collective, the group that we were in was talking about us, saying, why this, why that, la-di-da, yada-yada. Well, honey, you never really came and said it to my face. You assumed that I, read the writing on the wall or try to read your mind or whatever, what have you. It's not like that. So now we're moving into abundance because we're getting some kind of divine assist from Jupiter because there's tension here. And this could be this could be a yod, it could be a square, it could be, so since something was antithetical or oppositional to God's plan, it got highlighted and eradicated. This is what that is. This is what that be. We're also going to pull from Believe in Your Own Magic Oracle by Amanda Lovelace. I do not know the publisher. Okay. Lioness. We've earned our stripes. Yeah, we had to swim away from the situation. This has been coming out a lot. So we've been, but it's Scorpio season, of course. You eliminate during Scorpio season. You let go. It's like detoxification. So let's another one. Message from the other side. Be honest with yourself. So somebody's finally facing the music. It comes with time and practice. Something lovely will grow out of this, but it came out of pain, thorns. It came out of pain, unfortunately. They were waiting on a knight in shining armor. They wanted to be recognized. They were doing that damsel thing, is what this is saying. And what they didn't recognize is that we're just as much of a damsel as they are, or we weren't looking to come to anybody's rescue. And feigning innocence or feigning daintiness or feigning neediness and not saying, hey, could you help me out? Hey, do you understand? Or may I ask for your assistance? Not being direct costs them everything. So it's been an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to serve. Thank you for allowing me to do so. If anything I said resonated deeply with you, go ahead and smash that like button right now. If you can't, please don't. Thank you. And until we meet again, until we read again, namaste, dandava, and ashe. Sayonara, das vidanya, auf Wiedersehen. Take good care of yourself. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.